Hey, Shalom, Mashallah. I want to start off source by giving no praise to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Kodash, that belongs to the apostles of GMS and honors to you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. This is news on Hungary approving constitutional change to effectively ban adoption by same-sex couples, right? So it's exactly what it says on the tin, right? What's interesting, obviously, I love seeing people's reactions on things like this. Although that said, he's basically having a purge. He is setting up the ministry of truth, what he says and nothing else. And I say that because I was like, man, all these people agreeing with this, which ain't that many. In this particular article, but I'm sure there are others. But these were the sections that was in this section that was originally hidden, right? So you see, do you agree with this ban? This person there, Jason Nolan, said we need this worldwide, right? It says, well, I'll do the best to get the fuck out of Hungary. Would you call it? So this person is a is part of this crew up here. And then this is their country, their choice. That's what she says. Says yes, it is my country and it wasn't my choice. So f off. So and as you can see there, that is a woman. So what do you expect? You expect nothing less. But what is this is one of the reasons why we yearn for the kingdom of Israel, because actually we don't want to be living in a world like this. Right? We don't want to be living in a world where we have to have these kinds of arguments and conversations with people. Right? We want to be in our world, where our world, dwelleth righteousness. As 2 Peter 3:13. Nevertheless, we, according to His promise, look for new heavens and a new earth. I'm not saying that this earth is going to be completely destroyed, because the earth is what you call it, the Most High's. The Lord loves the earth. Scripture says that the earth is His footstool. Okay, so look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. So that's what we hope for, right? We hope for a kingdom of righteousness because our spirit yearns for righteousness ultimately, right? Whereas in this world, it's polluted. Okay, this is Hebrews 13:14. It says, "For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come." Right. So this is another one of those reasons why we're seeking the kingdom of Israel, because I mean, why is this news? Why have you got people saying this is ridiculous and unbelievable in this day and age, right? How is that country still allowed to be in the EU, right? That question, I was actually thinking that, because I'm like, would you call it? Because obviously with EU's government-like systems, he uses that as a form of control, right? As a form of a whipping stick, right? This is, oh, don't tell me it's crashed again. I'm saying, man, it's all bloody crashing. This is Jeremiah. Is that 49 or 50? 50 and 23. This is Jeremiah 50:23. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Right now, this is more in terms of like the military. He would just go and drop bombs on anyone who he doesn't who's trying to buck up against him, right? But I'm using in this particular situation because when he's saying, look, first he makes you broke, doesn't allow you to sell, doesn't allow you to make any money for your country, right? And then he puts you in a vice grip and says, we'll give you money, but only if you accept the things that we say. Right, for instance, you had the case with Uganda. Basically, I believe it was the IMF. One of them basically saying, "Look, man, we want to give you this aid, right? But you got to change your stance on homosexuals, right? If I'm remembering correctly, right? So that's part of that hammering, right? Do as I say or else, right? Now, if this ain't America, if this ain't these Edomites, where else and who is he, right? So where was this? That's what we hope for, and yeah, everything that was, because really Hungary ain't going far enough. You want to be technical according to the scriptures, because the scriptures say this is Leviticus 20:13. A man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman. Both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. So if a man commits that sin of homosexuality, then everything that happens after the fact is on their own head, right? Because a lot of these people will know the scriptures, right? And then, if they ask you, oh, what's your problem with, homosexuals, this, that, and the other, and you tell them the scriptures, then they buck up against the scriptures, okay? So, hey, it's not like they don't know what they're doing is off, right? But they go and do it anyway, and then they go and receive the recompense of their judgment, which is meat. Right? This is Romans 1, start from, was it 24? Says, wherefore the Most High also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, and worshipped instead of the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause the Most High gave them up to vile affliction. So when you see, an abuser of themselves, mankind, a homosexual, right? It's the Most High that put the spirit on them to be that way, right? And ultimately goes back to the fact that there are those that the Most High wants and there are those that the Most High doesn't want. Right? It's just that simple, right? Because if the Lord doesn't remove that demon from that particular individual, guess what? That particular person is gonna die, and that's just it, right? So it's the Most High that makes these different individuals fish, right? Because ultimately it's just a demon, right? For a man to look at another man in lust, that is just a dirty, disgusting demon, right? Especially when you consider just how beautiful the woman and her form is, right? So it's just a vile, disgusting demon which the Most High puts on these people. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. Yeah, same with these carpet munchers as well, right? They're off. Here it is. And the worst thing about them is one of them will then put the male appendage on, to put a strap on, right, to simulate being a man in the situation. It's like, how bugged out can you be, right? So we ain't. You see here, we ain't them hypocrites that you get in the world that are like, yeah, no, I like lesbians, but I have a problem with gays. Nah, but both of them, right? Because that's what the scripture says. Right, so for even their women did change their natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another. Right, so when you consider just how vile that is, because us as men, we look at a woman, we look at her hips, right, we look at her breasts, you look at her face, right, you get, you get aroused, right? You get aroused. You're like, yo, I want to do this and that to her, right? These people feel the same way about someone of their own sex. These men will think that way about another man. Now, that is, someone like that shouldn't be taken seriously. Someone like that needs to be taken out of their misery. Okay? This is burning their lust one toward another. Men with men working that which is unseemly and receiving in themselves that recompense of the error which was meet. And even as they did not like to retain the Most High in their knowledge, the Most High gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetous, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of the Most High, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who know the judgment of the Most High. So these guys know, right? Especially if it's a Jake Mo. Because for the most part, Jake, we grew up in a church for the most part, and they know what the scriptures say. They know, that's why Jake, for the longest time, they were what would you say, in the closet, because they knew it weren't right. But now they're coming out of the closet because Esau's given them the empowerment to do so. Okay, it says who knowing the judgment of the Most High, that they which commit such things are worthy of death. not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. So they know what the judgment is, but they don't care. They just carry on doing it, right? And not only do they do that, you get them people that, they'll say, I ain't gay, but they have no issue with these individuals, right? What's that term, man? Enablers. They're enablers, right? So this scripture is saying, those that do it and those that have pleasure in them that do it, right? They both of them are going to follow the same judgment, right? Yeah, I was going into another topic series I want to do. But yeah, that was just a quick one on this particular one, right? And hey, it seems like we're gonna be out of this kingdom soon, right? Lord's will, where we don't have to put up with conversations such as this. Just even the fact that we're reporting it, video might get taken down, man. Okay, so we're gonna see what happens with these, implants of this serum, right? And then we're going to see what, because we know that's eventually going to lead to the RFID chip being made mandatory, right? Which is the mark of the beast, right? So as always, Lord's will, I was edifying. Till the next time, Shalom.